evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July 1st, 2014 Chino City Council meeting. Please rise and join me with the flag salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a seat. Under ceremonials, we're going to start off with the Parks and Recreation Month of July 2014. In celebration of Parks and Recreation Month, we have a short video to share that the highlights of our youth action in our community. So we're going to take a look at the video. It should be coming up here. Very nice. I'd like to call up some of our community services commissioners, Chairperson Linda Takeuchi, Brenda Strong, and Bernice Gray, if they'll all come up. Ladies. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas statewide public opinion research indicates that 98% of California households visit a local park at least once a year. 2 in 3 households visit a park once a month, and 50% of households participate in an organized recreation program, and most park use is with family and friends. And whereas parks and recreation programs are vital to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in Chino and contributes to the economic and environmental well-being of our community. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease and improves the mental and physical health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs provide positive alternatives for children and youth during non-school hours to reduce crime, helping youth develop and grow into healthy, productive adults. And whereas in Chino, we are fortunate to have 230 acres of parkland and open space, which provides opportunities for our community to celebrate the outdoors. And whereas the Chino Community Services Department has adopted the California Parks and Recreation Society's Parks Make Life Better slogan and logo to promote the benefits of parks and recreation. And whereas since 1985, July is celebrated across the nation as Park and Recreation Month. And whereas the City of Chino urges all residents to recognize that parks and recreation enhances the lives of its residents and visitors, as well as adding value to the community, homes, neighborhoods, and making Chino a great place to live, work, and play. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Yates, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim July 2014 as Parks and Recreation Month. I'd like to present that to you, ladies. Linda, say a few words as the chairperson.
Well, a big thank you. A thank you to a future-looking council that years and years ago and mayor that said, okay, we need parks in town. And I can remember moving into town in 1974, and we had a park. It was Little Central Park over here with a metal swing set, that kind of thing. And we had McLeod Park, and I think there was Sebring. But there weren't a lot of toys for kids and places, and it was a rare park that you found a restroom in. But thanks to our council and our mayor and our citizens who passed a few bonds, we are able to have the 260-some acres and gorgeous parks. I can't thank everyone enough for that. I have places to take my grandkids that I didn't have places to take my children. And I know it's it's so important, and I'm very pleased that we're able to have that kind of park
We're blessed.
land, yes. And then I don't want to go on too much longer, but our recreation programs are marvelous. And we're far superior to many of the cities in the area. We really are. And I am very grateful for that, and I know our citizens are too. Thank you.
Well, those of you that attended the fireworks celebration on Saturday, I was out there. How many people were out there? 2, 3, 4,000 people? It was unbelievable, huh? 10,000? All I saw was tilt-ups as far as the eye could see, and then the girls' patch pits were having their tournament, and the other side of the park with the ball diamonds, those people were packed in there. It was unbelievable, and I got to say it now, we didn't have one problem. You know, the only problem is somebody got stung by a bee and we had to call an ambulance. That was it. But it's amazing that, and the public works people came in there and had that park completely clean by 1:30 in the morning because they had a soccer tournament Sunday morning, and they picked up 2 40-yard containers of trash, and they had it like nothing happened by 1:30 in the morning. So kudos to Bob Bodis and his crew for the wonderful job that they did. Well, thank you, ladies, and I know each of you are assigned parks that you have to inspect every month, so you keep up the good works, and our parks are really looking good. Thank you very much. Give them a hand. Next is the Mayor's Home Beautification Award for July 2014, and we'd like to call up Albert and Sohee Tan, living on Stonegate here, who are recipients for the winners in the month of July. And bring your family up. Look at the cuties. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
This is the picture of their beautiful home. It should be up on the deal here too. But we'd like to present you the picture of your home.
Thank you.
And we have well, you want something too? We'll give you something. We have a little cert here, the Mayor's Home Beautification Award for Albert and Sohee Tan. And we want to thank you for your continued improvement and maintenance of your home, resulting in a substantial contribution to the overall appearance of our community. We'd like to present, we got all kinds of stuff for you. We have 2 official lapel pins like I'm wearing here to present to you. And we have 2 pen and pencil sets. And we have our traditional winners. Yeah, you got something. And we'd like you to put this in your yard, declaring you as the winners for July. And we have 12 winners during the year. And then at the end of the year, we pick a winner, and we for the Home Beautification Award of the Year. And we invite you to the Mayor's State of the City lunch, and we buy a lunch and give you a little gift certificate if you win. But we're awfully proud of the way you take care of your home, and here's another stuff to carry. Now, who does all the yard work?
Well, I have to admit, it is shared.
It is shared?
Both of us, we do share that.
Who's the boss?
Oh, well, the one on my left,
Yeah.
of course.
That was a dumb
But
question.
we all know that. That was a canned question. Well, on behalf of my wife, Zoe, and my 3 girls, Chloe, Nayeli, and Josephine, we'd like to thank you, Mayor
our
Yates.
pleasure.
We'd like to thank council members for this distinction. It is not something that we worked toward, but what we do realize by having moved here into the city of Chino is that people here are very proud of this city.
Oh, they are.
People here are very proud of what they have accomplished, and they're very proud of what, who they are. And with that, we gratefully accept this award,
It's our privilege.
and we thank you very much for the distinction.
Thank you for doing what you do. Congratulations. That's some cutie patooties, aren't they? Okay. We move on to public communications. We have a request from Pastor Sheldon Boyd of Cornerstone Community Church to lead us in the invocation. Those who would like to participate, please rise.
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you once again for this opportunity to come before you, to bring to you our city. Lord, every time that I'm here and see the awards that are given out, just reminds me again, Lord, of what a great community we live in. We thank you, Lord, for our leaders. We thank you, Lord, for all of those who are serving our community. We thank you, Lord, too, for this time of year as we remember the freedoms that we celebrate. Thankful, Lord, for those who continue to pay the price for that freedom. We ask, Father, that you would protect those, Lord, who are serving in the armed services throughout the world today. Lord, we thank you for the gift that they give to us and allowing us to have the freedoms that we celebrate. Lord, we ask for your wisdom, as always, to be given to our leaders and decisions that need to be made, and your blessing upon this council meeting tonight. We ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Have a seat, folks. Next is the rest of the consent calendar, pulling item 8 and 9 for discussion. Would entertain a motion to approve the rest of the council by voice vote where system's down.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan. Clerk, would you take the voice? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. I have written requests for public communications. I don't know what I was thinking. I have 4 written requests. We'll hold off on the consent calendar. The first request I have is Mary Elizabeth Powell. State your name for the record, and you're reminded you have 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Mary Elizabeth Powell. I live at 12840 Norton Avenue here in Chino. My concern is getting no parking on designated street cleaning days in the city of Chino. Several years ago, I brought this up and nothing was really done, but I'm bringing it up again because it doesn't seem to be working too well. The preserve has a no parking policy, and the last I heard, the preserve is part of the city of Chino. Even our neighbor, the city of Chino Hills, has a no parking policy. I just want to know why the rest of the city of Chino cannot have the same policy. Driving around Chino, different parts of the city, I noticed there's a lot of streets that are filthy from lack of cleaning. Like the areas around M.K. Smith, Chino High School, and among, there's many others. Right now I live in a cul-de-sac. I work graveyard. I make sure when I get home that all my vehicles are parked in my driveway so the street cleaner has free access to my street. I wake up, I find my neighbor's cars there, I find their visitors' cars there. My front of my street does not get cleaned. Or the neighbors have cars. Like I said, I live in a cul-de-sac. Cars are parked on the house next to me. On either side, street cleaner cannot get into my area. I have a curve-in cul-de-sac. Street cleaner won't get in there. And like I said, I try to get it cleaned up, ready to go, so the street cleaner can come. I'm prohibited from having my street cleaned. Years ago, when we had the street, our storm drains being done, this city council approved to have my street cleaned, or my cul-de-sac cleaned every week. However, now it's every other week if the guy remembers to come. Another part of a problem with my house, I really want it to be clean, is I have a Catalina cherry tree. They have those little purple berries that are horrible. The city has come out 3 years in a row, sprayed it, not correctly, but they've sprayed it to stop it from blossoming. It hasn't worked yet. This year they've tried injecting it, and I have to wait till next year to see if that is done. But those berries are all in the street, they're all on the sidewalk. I'll never get a beautification award because my house looks like everything's been dumped there. You know, I just like to keep it clean. You know, I like my house to be clean. I pay for street cleaning. I expect it to be cleaned. You know, now I'm getting to the point where if it's not clean, do I have to pay to have the street cleaner? Do I have to pay that fee? I'm not getting the service done. Why should I pay for it? I granted, you know, my neighbors, we have a lot of people in the neighborhood. You have multi-families in there. I have my granddaughter living with me now. I make sure all my cars are up. The neighbors do not. I follow the ordinance. I wish everybody else would. I understand that the people do not like change. In the city, they're used to not having this, you know, they're used to parking wherever they want, this and that. Well, I'm sorry. If you put a stop sign up, eventually people are going to stop for that stop sign. If there's a sign up there, eventually they're going to learn you don't park on street cleaning days. I just would like to have a clean street. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. We've been working on that situations, and we have several problems that we can't do it in a lot of the parts, especially the older part of the city. This area downtown here, there's no place to park their cars. They don't have driveways. They can't park them in the alley. And so it's almost impossible for the people to have their streets swept because there's nowhere to put their vehicles. But I know our city manager, Mr. Ballantyne, has been going over that. I think it's a request of Councilman Elrod that he's been checking on this.
Correct, and the other thing to consider is in order to do enforcement, we have to post several signs throughout the community as well. But certainly we can look into it.
Thank you for
One
your comment.
suggestion would be like they do back east is they have either side of the street, one day you can park on one side, they clean the other side, and then vice versa.
Well, that's what they do in Newport Beach, same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's what I've been discussing with him, so,
we're trying to figure it out. So it's
I know, it's just been
it's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to post the signs too.
do we have,
I'll pay for the sign in my cul-de-sac. I have no
do
problem.
we have anything on the books about parking on, anything like you can't park on?
The only thing
So we
is in the
can't enforce
preserve
it,
area.
right now,
preserve, yeah.
we can't enforce it,
Without posting,
Right.
correct.
okay.
Yeah, can't do anything.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. We appreciate your comments. Mark Robow. Mark, state your name for the record, please. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm Mark Romble.
Oh, Romble, okay.
Yes, and I've been a resident of Chino for 33 years, not continuously. I got divorced, so I was missed 1 year. So, but I came back to this great city because I really like it a lot. And I want to address again parking, and the same thing with this. I agree with her with the street sweeping. People should remove their vehicles from the street, especially the people that complain about you washing dirt into the gutter. That's what the gutter's for, okay? And the grossest violator is my neighbor. He has a 30-foot motorhome. He has 6 cars, and they're all over the place all the time. And anyway, the law, he tells me he could keep his RV there because he's handicapped.
That's true.
He's not handicapped.
Does he have a handicap plate?
He does have handicap
Huh?
plates. He does, yes, he
That he can
does.
park it there. Yeah.
Okay, well,
That's in the ordinance. He can.
it's not fair, though. It should be all across the board. His vehicle is so big, when I'm backing out of my driveway, I cannot see vehicles coming up and down the street. That's part of the reason why we have that. Also, we don't want people living in their RVs. One of those pictures I have there for you, you could tell that someone has a cable hooked up to their RV. They have
Is that the
dust
trailer?
covers. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the dust covers on the wheels. It looks like someone lives in it. Okay, I believe in karma. I don't care to call police on these people. And I just think there should be something done about the handicap deal with that, or, you know, could I get my handicap placard and put my boat in my driveway?
Yes, you can. Oh, not a boat, an
Not a
RV.
boat.
Well, that's the thing. You see
Not
boats
Not unless it's a
also.
land boat.
Yeah. But you see there are boats in driveways also.
Yeah,
And that-
you-
and that's
they can't
just
have
in my
them.
neighborhood. You could go around the whole city and this happens all over the place. So what I'm thinking, okay, I was called the very first day I put my boat in my driveway, that neighbor
Called on you?
called on me. And this is only because I told him to keep his dogs out of my yard from crapping in the yard, excuse my language. But that's what he did, and he took that really to offense. So anything I do, he'll call the police on me. So I just have a big problem with that, him doing that. And everyone else should, you know, there should be a set rule to that.
There is. There
Well-
is. But like I told you before the meeting, we just don't go around patrol all the streets, the code enforcement.
Okay.
You need to call.
Okay, well,
Once
how-
you call, we have to respond.
Okay,
And
well,
so,
how about this then? When Lily was called out to give me and she doesn't give me a ticket, she's giving me a warning.
Right.
Okay, and that's fair also. But if she was gonna come out in my neighborhood, drive around, is she blind? There's other
Evidently not.
people
She
with
made it to your
vehicles in
house.
their driveway, so she should be able to present a warning to them also. And it's not funny, I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying if she's in the neighborhood, she should go through there and issue warnings to everybody, just to be fair. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, sir, what we'll do is we'll give this to the city manager, he'll give it to code enforcement, and we'll have somebody out there probably tomorrow.
We've got
and,
his person.
All right,
write warnings to all those vehicles.
all right.
Thank you for your testimony. Eunice?
I think there's something also, in one of these pictures, the motorhome is obviously extended over the sidewalk. And if I recall, our ordinance prohibits anybody from
Blocking the sidewalk.
blocking the sidewalk or causing a hazard.
it is.
And so even if he has a handicap placard, I don't think he, she, whoever it is, can cause,
Yeah.
can cause a safety hazard. So
Right.
even though they have a handicap placard. But I had suggested also a couple of times that what we need to do at the end of summer is do like a sweep on the city and put out notification in the newspaper, we will enforce our RV ordinance, and then start enforcing it instead of just selectively when we get complaints. But give everybody a warning. You know, they've got until like, you know, October 30th or something, or October 1st. And then, you know, we're gonna start enforcing it instead of having a law on the book and ignoring it.
Yep, agree. Okay, our next request is Dorothy Pineda. Dorothy, you're reminded you have 5 minutes, and state your name for the record, please.
That's a long time, 5 minutes. So I'll give you 3 minutes. You guys are great. My name's Dorothy Pineda. I live here in Chino, and I am going to talk a little bit about the special election the community of Chino we have on Tuesday in regards to three measures, H, J, and I. Measure H and J, you're pretty well aware that it's in the southern part of Chino, kind of where the dairy preserve is, and it's kind of getting built out. Measure I, however, is out here in the northern portion of Chino, where we have large residential lots that we really do enjoy, and that's where I live. I'd just like to let the voters know that I strongly oppose these. I will vote no on all three. I believe that we should not deviate from our existing zones because just a few developers and residents are willing to sacrifice our quality of life for their own profits. Last year, we had Measure B, which permitted for 8 units per acre. That was out there in southern Chino, where Measure H and J are. The developers now want to build 12 residential units per acre. But altogether, all three measures, you're looking at 486 units, houses on as small as lots as possible. Right now, in the preliminary stages, in the northern part, not too far from Measure I, is a proposal for 18 units per acre. Now, I have an acre of land. I chose to live here in Chino for that very reason, that we have large properties, very well-balanced community, in my opinion. You've got a lot more parks than some of the adjacent cities. You guys focus, you leaders focus on community and family, and that's very important. When we start to deviate from the general plan, that is something that takes quite a long time. I've sat on the steering committee for the update for this general plan here. I've sat in other committees from other cities. I'm very well aware of how to read environmental impact reports. I've dealt with builders in other communities where they've tried to come in and try to just pack in as much as you can. It's not very healthy when you start jamming things together. So all three of these measures are fundamentally out of scale with the existing neighborhoods. It's not suitable. You're looking at 2-story, possibly 3. in order to put that many homes on one lot. They're gonna have probably 10 feet, between their neighbors. Very little frontage, if any. You're probably you're looking at detachable homes, but they're actually like condos. So they're not gonna have any room for children to play. Another thing, if these communities are built to the capacity of 18 per units, more likely the children in these areas in northern Chino, they're gonna have to be bused, or they're gonna have to have their parents take them somewhere else. These areas the schools are already packed. So overall, it's overcrowding. It's just gonna be too many people living in one small area. I'd like to also point out that the developer has sent out several of these flyers. I've received like 3 or 4. They're really false. They imply things that aren't true. A few of these people that maybe they talk about don't represent the whole community. It's just a few people. But they also, one of the mailers said that our existing ordinance or these zonings they needed to be corrected. I find that very offensive, because the existing zone ordinance were created to separate residential from commercial properties and to ensure future developments do not disturb the existing neighborhoods. The city's general plan use is current with the state and federal laws and regulations. There's buffer zones in place to provide safe pathways for our school children, open space, and they mitigate any traffic and environmental issues. So they're not out of date, as one of the recent mailers from the developer who paid for it says. So I'm asking Chino residents to please vote no on these measures and stop rampant high-density housing. Let's protect and uphold Chino's vibrant and livable neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pineda. Appreciate your comments. Next, that figures. Next is Bob Nigg, the clapper.
Yes, my name's Bob Nigg, and I also support the no's on those propositions, but that's not why I'm here. On your June 3rd meeting, there was agenda item number 5 having to do with increase in payment of $50,000 for outside legal counsel for the lawsuit involving the city attorney. I'm not going to go into the merits of that litigation. However, I do have a question. I am aware that currently the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office is investigating some of the complaints I've made concerning the compensation of this counsel. My question is any of that $150,000 being spent for legal advice or protection against the San Bernardino District Attorney's investigation? And if so, I think that should be disclosed. If I read this, it doesn't mention anything about the $150,000 being used for anything but the CREED, the Inland Oversight Committee. So I would like some transparency and accountability. If we are spending money, city money, to defend the city council against a criminal investigation, where's that money coming from? Also, I just recently filed a public records request requesting information that the city has provided in regards to that investigation. I'm perfectly aware of some exemptions to the Public Records Act that it does not need to be disclosed. However, there's no mandate that certain records do not need to be disclosed. It's a choice. It's a discretion that this council has. If this council has done nothing wrong, I would request that all records in regards to that investigation being provided by the city be made available to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other folks wish to bring up a subject in front? Pardon me? No, we don't do that back and forth. You said your piece, and thank you.
Everybody else gets a response, but okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else wish to address the council on any item that does not appear on the agenda? I'll close public communications. Next is consent calendar. We're pulling items 8 and 9 for discussion. And we have a motion by
From me and then Glenn.
Councilman Elrod, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan. And we will vote by voice. City Clerk?
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Uloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates.
Yes, item passes the majority. Item 8, pulled by Councilmember Ulloa.
Can I have a staff report on that item, please?
Certainly. The city currently has a contract with Candida Neal, who's a planner from Claremont, California, working on specialized planning projects mainly dealing with environmental impact reports and addendums to environmental impact reports. Her breadth and depth of knowledge and experience helps the city staff in the thorough evaluation of these documents. We had recently received a proposal for a development up in the neighborhood around Francis and Benson. And so the city is wanting to hire Ms. Neal to evaluate a proposed environmental impact report for that project. And in that capacity, she will be acting on our behalf to review thoroughly all of the special studies that prepared, traffic, air quality, noise, the phase 1 environmental, all those types of things, to assist staff in making sure that the document is fully complete before it is presented to the public and then to the city council.
Okay, this particular project is not in accordance with the general plan, is that correct?
That's correct.
It's currently zoned RD1, which would allow approximately 30 homes. And this project originally started out being proposed at over 200, and they've pared it down a little now so that it's about 200 homes on the same amount of property that was supposed to have 30, correct?
That's correct.
I understand that the proposed developer has already written a check to the city to cover some fees.
That is correct, yes.
And that amount is not $30,000. How much has that developer paid?
Well, the developer has paid over $10,000 in application fees, but they have also given us a $30,000 check to pay for the services of Ms. Neal,
And
should we contract with
When
her.
did they provide that $30,000 check?
They provided it last week.
Last week, okay. So the citizens of Chino are not paying for a review of something that's not in accordance with the general plan?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I don't know if this is the correct time or not, but I'd like to take a few minutes and provide a little bit of history in kind of what has evolved and gotten us to where we are now, which is to the point where we're accepting proposals that are not in accordance with the general plan. Before 1984, there were a few projects that came into the city that were high density. Now, low density used to be considered half-acre and one-acre properties. Very different from what builders are considering low density now. But there were a few developments that went into the city of Chino, and the residents were extremely upset about that. There were 4 people on the council who were in favor of the high density. That changed a bit to a split of 3-2. An example of one of the developments is a little piece of property which is west of the shopping center on the southwest corner of Walnut and Central. It's a little strip in there, and they jammed in equivalent to RD20, which means you have to kind of drive down and then into parking that's actually located under the buildings. And the people were very upset about that, as well as increased crime, parking issues, and everything else that goes with high density. So in 1984, there was quite a controversial election held. The 3 people that were on the council at the time had gotten rather negative nicknames assigned to them because of their support of high density. And one was Density Dan, then there was Builder Bill, and then there was Rollover Ralph. Well, one of them was defeated in 1984. That's when I was elected, and that changed the split on the council to 3-2 the other way. During also the 1984 election as well, Fred Aguirre ran for mayor against one of the people, and Fred won. And a main contention in the 1984 election was density and protecting our lifestyle. Because the citizens of Chino at that time were quite happy with the way the community was being developed. It was truly balanced. You had large properties as well as small properties, and literally you could live in any lifestyle you chose during that time. You could move it into an apartment or get a condo or single-family home or a large lot, or you could get an estate property on a half an acre or an acre. You could even buy a dairy farm or a horse ranch. So this continued to be quite an issue. So in 1988, it was actually, I think, authored by Fred Aguirre, and it was supported by the council. It came up with Measure M, and the voters now hear references to Measure M. The items that are on the ballot now are not Measure M. Measure M was what created the necessity to go to the ballot if property was going to be increased in density. And I'd like to take a minute to read a little bit of the ballot measure to you. This is actually the General Plan Amendment Stabilizing Residential Areas. That's what ballot measure M was called in 1988. Section 1, to ensure the quality of the residential environment and the quality of life in the city of Chino. The people of the city of Chino hereby declare their intent to establish maximum densities for residential lands and to prevent the increase of land designated for residential areas within Chino. So they didn't want any more houses. They wanted the general plan adopted and stayed like it was. Section 2, notwithstanding any other provision of the general plan, the maximum density of any land designated for residential use within the city of Chino shall not exceed the density for such land established by the zoning map and the zoning ordinance of the city of Chino, or any development agreements in effect on November 8th, 1988. Notwithstanding any other provision of the general plan, any land designated for a non-residential use within the city of Chino shall not be converted to residential use, except for school sites. However, the City Council of the City of Chino may convert any land designated for a residential use to any other non-residential use, and may also change uses among land designated for non-residential use. So the citizens were in favor of taking residential use out of the designation of residential and changing it to industrial or commercial. Then when you looked at the analysis of the city attorney, it says this measure proposes to limit the amount of land within the city of Chino that can be utilized for residential development and, underlined, maximizes the density of all land zoned for residential development within the city of Chino. This measure would retain all residential lands designated for residential use by the city's zoning ordinance in existence on election day, named November 8, 1988. Thereafter, the City Council of the City of Chino would not be able to increase the land designated for residential use within the City of Chino by converting non-residential land, such as commercial or industrial land, to residential land. However, the City Council would retain the ability to convert residential land to non-residential land. This measure would retain all densities, that is the number of residential units per acre, of land zoned for residential uses by the city's zoning ordinance as of the date of this election. Thereafter, the City Council would not be able to increase those densities except in the case of housing for senior citizens. However, the council would be able to decrease the density of land zoned for residential. So you could take land that was zoned, say, RD4 and change it to half acre or 1 acre, or from RD8 to RD4.5. The argument in favor of Measure M, which was authored by the council at the time, which was myself, Fred Aguirre, Dick Sawhill, Al Yankee, and Diane Irwin. In the last 15 years, the city of Chino has faced increasing growth demands as more people seek the rural atmosphere and the less expensive housing in the Inland Empire. This growth has brought with it increasing employment and services, but also increasing urban problems and the potential for a dramatic change in the rural-suburban atmosphere. The city's population as of January 1st, 1988 was estimated to be 56,136. The city's general plan currently indicates residential land that could potentially accommodate 70,551 in the city and its influence. The general plan is thoughtfully provided for the ultimate build-out of the city, taking into consideration streets, services, and appropriate residential densities for these neighborhoods. This amendment to the city's general plan would provide that the maximum density on any residential property within the city limits would be shown on the city's general plan as of November 8th, 1988. Non-residential properties could not be changed to residential in the future. Chino needs this amendment to provide increased insurance that the community's character as envisioned in the general plan will be achieved. That measure, interestingly enough, passed by 81%. I think that was an overwhelming vote of the people to retain the balance that we had at the time and into the future. And the reason why they did it was because of the political games on the council that were being played. The council was changing densities, and the citizens reached out and changed this council to try to protect its densities. Now, forwarding on years later, we're faced with exactly what the citizens said they didn't want, and that is converting commercial and industrial to residential and increasing densities. The ballot measure itself in this year's, next week's, in fact, election is extremely misleading. The ballot explanation, the argument in favor of one of the measures says the Chino City Council and Planning Commission both voted unanimously in support of this measure. This particular measure, the Planning Commission did not vote in favor of it. So that's a blatant misstatement. And this City Council did not vote in favor of the zoning. It voted to put it on the ballot, which was allowed by Measure M. So extremely misleading. One of the other measures my little thingies are sticking together here. States it emphasizes half-acre homes and detached single-family homes for Chino families. There are 2 half-acre homes in all of these proposals, which the pictures in one of the flyers I've spoken to before is extremely misleading. It shows a girl on a horse. It shows lots of open space with some, a couple riding bicycles. Very, very misleading. It says, after receiving positive support from the residents of the local neighborhood, the City Council and Planning Commission both voted unanimously in favor of this measure. That is not what either body voted. What either body voted was, Planning Commission voted to turn it over to the City Council to decide if the city wanted to foot the bill to put it on, or allow it to be put on the ballot in July for a vote of the citizens. So again, misleading. And I object to that. I really object to that. Another measure states, this measure will make the zoning changes needed to complete the connections to the Chino Horse Trail, helping to maintain Chino's equestrian heritage. The problem is this measure took away half-acre homes and the possibility of having horses and replaced it with smaller lots. So how is that preserving our equestrian heritage? I resent the misstatements. I think it's blatant. They're saying that some of this land is a better match and a fit for the neighborhood surrounding it. Well, if you look at the maps, if you look in your voter pamphlets and look at the matching neighborhood, it doesn't match at all. So the citizens, I think, spoke very, very loudly in 1988. And I ask again that this council take a leadership role and look, if we have not zoned Central and Euclid especially appropriately, then this council needs to accept the responsibility of looking at that and not allowing the builders to come in and change our community. Piecemealing some of these streets is just going to make a mess. It's going to put in mid-block signals. Our schools in the northern area are already overcrowded, and the kids are not even able to go to their own neighborhood schools. I'm frustrated with this. The citizens spoke very loudly before. and took the power, tried to take the power away from political games with the council and protect the balance that they had. And now we're allowing it. Yes, we allowed it to go on the ballot, but we didn't have to. What we could have done was said, no, you get the signatures of the city, of the citizens and the residents to put this on the ballot for a vote. And if you can show that the citizens support it by signing your petition, then maybe they want the changes. But you know as well as I do the apathy out there when it comes to voting. Citizens are very, very discouraged because of mislabeling and misadvertising. And a lot of people figure, I'm not even going to bother to vote. So I just wanted to bring that up to this evening.
Item 8, do we have a motion to approve?
Is there public comment?
No. Item 8, we need a motion to approve.
Could you have a reason why there's no public comment on an open item?
Mayor, there is an opportunity to comment publicly.
Oh, there is? All right, come on up, Mr. Naig.
Thank you. Eunice, it's not very many times that we're in agreement.
That's true.
It's like the first time.
Yeah, well, no, it's not the first. But anyway, I just wanted to make the comments that I feel this election is being bought and paid for by the developers. They're the ones that putting all the money into this thing. I think it is wrong. I know many of the council members receive large political donations every year for your re-elections. Much of it comes from the developers. And the citizens, we don't have the money to go up and fight this and do all the stuff. We don't have the money to get signs that we can post all over illegally in the city that had to be taken down. I'm opposed to it. There's many things. You could say, we're having water shortages now. What's high density going to do? Increase our water usage. Our rates have already skyrocketed. They're going to keep going up. There's diminishing water. You can go to the schools. I live in the East End. That area, there is a decrease in overall population of the school, but in the East End, there's only 3 schools. This is where a lot of the development's going to go. Those schools are already at near capacity. It's not good for the city. Again, I would argue that this is bad for the city. I would vote no on H, I, and J. And I hope all the citizens of Chino do the same thing. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment. I don't have a motion for item 8.
I do.
Oh, you'll move it? Moved by Councilman Howie. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Elrod. Voice vote, please, City Clerk.
Councilmembers Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Uloa,
I'm voting no out of protest.
That
Mayor
means you
Pro-
want us to pay for it?
Nope, I don't want it on
That's
here because
silly.
it's
I
not
wonder.
in accordance with the zone.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates,
Yes. Item passes forward with Councilmember Uloa opposing. Okay, item 9 was pulled by Mr. Nig. The Nig show tonight. Back up again.
I'm going to be here, might as well get my 2 cents. Basically, this was, I believe, item number 9 is a $60,000 contract for outside legal counsel to enforce the municipal code. My question is, the city attorney has been doing this. Is his fees going to go down for what we're now going to be spending for an outside attorney? I'm trying to understand, we've always had a city attorney. Why don't we go outside counsel when we already pay somebody to do this? And my question is his fee going to be reduced, and is his contract ever going to be updated? Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve item 9?
I think it's fair questions. I think that's a fair question, Dennis, that should be answered.
Matt, do you have a comment on that?
Yes, the reason why we brought on Silver and Wright and Matt Silvers here this evening was they specialize in code enforcement, so that's why they brought on, and they've since done a lot of updates to our codes, hence the need for the amount that's outlined here. Essentially, some code enforcement fees would go down on the city attorneys, but those fees would be picked up by the new counsel that we've hired for code enforcement activity.
Go ahead.
I think this is an excellent idea, and it's something that we've needed for a long time. We have areas where we haven't enforced our code because we just simply haven't had the time or the expertise in the area. And I think we'll get a lot of these fees back by the fines that are associated with it. So I'm totally in favor of doing this. There are areas of our community that desperately need to be cleaned up. And you come very highly recommended. And I'm completely in favor of doing this.
Any other comment? Entertain a motion. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Ulloa. Voice vote, please, clerk.
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates.
Yes, passes in the majority. Okay, moving to public hearings, item 11. And prior to the city council vote, public will have an opportunity to comment on these items. Item 11 is multifamily housing revenue bonds, the California Statewide Communities Development Authority, Vista Park Chino Apartments. And our staff report this evening is by our principal planner, Mr. Armando Copian. Mr. Copian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, members of the City Council. Preservation Vista Park Chino LLP has submitted an application to California Statewide Communities Development Authority for the financing of the renovation and rehabilitation of an existing affordable multifamily housing project known as the Vista Park Chino Apartments. This application is for issuance of tax-exempt housing revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $8 million. The apartments were built in 1983 and are located at 5819 Riverside Drive. Vista Park Apartments is a 40-unit multifamily housing residential facility that provides vital low-income housing to individuals and families with HUD Section 8 assistance. Tonight's public hearing is in accordance with the Tax and Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act, more commonly referred to as TEFRA hearing. The TEFRA hearing process is a public accountability procedure involving the legislative body of the program participant in which the project is located. In order for the authority to issue bonds and for the bonds to qualify as tax-exempt bonds, the City Council must first conduct a public hearing to provide members of the community an opportunity to speak in favor of or against the use of tax-exempt bonds for the refinancing of the project. Notice the public hearing was published as required by law. The bonds will be the sole responsibility of the borrower, and the city will have no legal, financial, moral obligation, liability, or responsibility for the project or the repayment of the bonds for the financing of the project. All financing documents with respect to the issuance of the bonds will contain clear disclaimers that the bonds are not obligations of the city, but are to be paid for solely from funds provided by the borrower. Tax-exempt bond financing will provide funding for the borrower to make substantial renovations to the site and to each unit interior, including new kitchen cabinets, bathtubs and fixtures, ADA improvements, interior and exterior doors, new roofing, exterior and interior painting, and new energy-efficient products, including kitchen appliances. The project is intended to make a significant investment to maintain and enhance the property as a high-quality, affordable rental housing community. In conclusion, staff recommends the City Council adopt Resolution Number 2014-039, approving the issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds by the California Statewide Communities Development Authority on behalf of Preservation Vista Park Chino LLP in connection with the renovation and rehabilitation of Vista Park Chino Apartments. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Copian. Prior to council comment or questions, I'll open this to the public hearing. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Any questions? We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Second.
Second by Council Member Howie. You have a question,
Yes,
Mr.
I do.
Elrod?
If we're not liable for anything, why do we have to adopt anything?
Because as the authority, the community that the bonds are going to be placed, the city has the authority to review every issuance. And
Okay.
before they get the allocation, we have to approve it.
Okay, great, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates.
Yes. Passes in the majority. Next, item 12, introduction of ordinance 2014-011, amending the Title V of the Chino Municipal Code. Our staff report this evening is by our Director of Community Development, Mr. Nicholas Ligori. Mr. Ligori?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. In 2008, Senate Bill 731 was signed into law, which created statewide standards for licensing massage therapy establishments. And that was through the California Massage Therapy Council. The law also put limits on how cities could regulate the location of massage therapy establishments. These changes rendered the city's existing ordinance regulating massage therapy unenforceable. the legislature occupied that field of law for us. At the time, there were very few establishments in the city, and so a decision was made not to update our ordinance as the state law superseded all our local laws. In recent years, however, many cities throughout California, including Chino, have seen an increase in the number of massage establishments because of these state law limitations. This has brought about an increase in illegal activities, and enforcement of our laws and the prosecution of violators has become difficult because of this inconsistency between the city's existing law that's on the books and the state law. So the proposed amendments to Chapter 5.24, the Municipal Code, would bring our ordinance into consistency with existing state law and allow the city to fully prosecute all state and local violations in order to reduce the amount of illegal activities that would be associated with these establishments. Specifically, we'll have the ability to suspend and revoke business licenses, and we can prevent new establishments from locating in a place where an existing establishment was closed due to illegal activity. So it'll really enhance our enforcement efforts. So staff recommends that the council conduct a public hearing and approve the introduction of ordinance number 2014-11. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Prior to council comments or questions, I'll open this public hearing. Anybody wishing to address the council on this issue could do so now. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Howie?
Yeah, I got a quick question for Nick. How many, we have what, 26 or 28 establishments now, massage?
23.
23. Are we going to have enough enforcement capabilities to be able to get around and get it to these on a regular basis to make sure that they're all licensed and whatever?
Currently, yes. The Code Enforcement Division works with the police department. So we have a careful relationship with them that we can utilize at certain times to make sure that these would be enforced. And in fact, we have done enforcement sweeps throughout the city over the past year, and that's where these inconsistencies were brought to light because of our hindrance in our ability to enforce our current code.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we enact this, that we have the capability of monitoring it.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Elrod. City Clerk, take the vote, please.
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates.
Yes, item passes unanimously. City Attorney, Mr. Gutierrez.
Oh, these are the damn
This is ordinance number 2014-01. It reads, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending Chapter 5.24 of the Chino Municipal Code governing massage establishments and providers.
Item 13, introduction of ordinance 2014-012, amending titles 1, 8, and 15 of the Chino Municipal Code, and the adoption of resolution number 2014-043, amending the administrative fines for violations of the Chino Municipal Code. Our staff report this evening is the building official, Mike Heroes. Mike?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm presenting for your consideration tonight an ordinance which will amend titles 1, 8, and 15 of the Municipal Code, and a resolution amending the administrative fines for violations of the municipal code. The purpose of the ordinance is to omit the complexity of the current code enforcement process. By simplifying the process, staff will be more accurate and efficient, allowing them to perform more daily inspections. In addition to streamlining the process, the proposed amendments will become consistent with state law. Certain violations will continue to have correction times, such as those involving construction or zoning violations. Other violations, such as public nuisance, threats to health, safety, and welfare will be eligible for citations immediately. In most cases, the code staff is able to obtain compliance for a violation through the issuance of a warning or a notice, and we're not having to issue citations. The proposed ordinance will allow the staff to more efficiently address property owners and business owners that consistently violate the code. The proposed ordinance will also enable the city to recover legal fees incurred for the prosecution of the more complex code cases. There will be no change to the current fines and procedures for any administrative citations that is issued for the illegal use of fireworks, and the provisions to appeal administrative citations will remain unchanged. All of the proposed changes have been discussed with the city attorney, the prosecuting attorney, the police department, and the business license division. In conclusion, staff recommends the city council conduct a public hearing, adopt resolution number 2014-043, and approve the introduction of ordinance 2014-012 to be read by number and title only, and to waive further reading of the ordinance. This concludes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions. And we also have Matt Silver, the city prosecuting attorney, in the audience. He's also available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Prior to council questions or comments, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this issue may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Any questions or comments? Moved by Council Member Ulloa, second by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan. City Clerk, would you take the roll?
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
and Mayor Yates.
Yes, item passes unanimously. City Attorney?
2014-012 reads an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending selected provisions of the Chino Municipal Code to comply with state law and provide for efficient enforcement of municipal code violations.
Thank you. Under new business, item 14, Community Support Fund. Our staff report this evening is by our Community Services Director, Ms. Linda Reich. Ms. Reich?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As the council is aware, for the past 3 years, the City Council has approved a list of non-city sponsored events that were supported by city staff. Those events include things such as the Chino Band Review, the Kiwanis Car Show, and the Relay for Life event. Support provided comes in the form of either staff time, equipment, or facility use for those groups. Included in your packet was a list of events that was approved last year. So the recommendation tonight is that the council review that list, make any revised changes, and approve the list so that next year or this fiscal year, we can provide support for these events. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Reich. Prior to council questions or comments, I'll open this for public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Any questions or comments by the council?
Yeah.
Councilman Howie.
Yeah, this is the Community Support Fund we have a lot of great activities in town, and during the year, we add a number of items. I'd like to see if we could add some of those items now. We're having to bring it in January and December and March and try to get them in the last minute. So I would like to see if we could add some more items. There's plenty of more room with the money that we have allocated for this. And so if anybody would like to add, the first one I'd like to add this evening to make a motion would be for the Civil War reenactment. We've done it for the last 10. Huh?
It's already on here.
Not the cash contribution that we make. It's just the soft costs are on there right now, right?
Well, there's some hard costs, but it's not cash
Okay.
helping these organizations.
Fine, then I would like to, we usually increase a $4,000 donation to the Civil War reenactment later in the year. I'd like to see if we can add that now.
Oh, yeah, that's what you want to do. I was going to say we do that.
Yeah.
4,000, you said?
Yeah, that's what we normally do that, and there might be some other ones that'd be a good time to add some other items right now, and we don't have to do that during the rest of the year.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Elrod?
I'd like to request also to add my two charities I'd like to give to, which is the Chino Bass Club and the Chino Fair Association. Thank you.
In the amount of what, sir?
$2,500 each.
Let's see. Bass Club and Chino Fair Association?
Yes, sir.
Chino Junior Fair. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would like to add support for the concerts on the lawn, or in the park rather, and the Kiwanis Car Show.
And the what?
Kiwanis Car Show.
I think they're already on there.
Yeah, it's
Well,
already on
that's not, that's what we put in, but not cash-wise.
Well,
Right, correct?
Do
Isn't
they
that right,
need the
Linda?
cash?
What's on the list currently for the Kiwanis Car Show is police support
and Public Works for closing the streets, and community services support for operation of the event. It doesn't include a cash donation.
I would like to see a $1,000 cash contribution to the Kiwanis Car Show to help offset the giveaways that they do.
They get the giveaways for free, don't they?
Well, they try, yeah.
Donations.
They try. They do have to buy some. And I would also like to, as I suggested in the last fiscal year, I would like to support our concerts on the lawn. And I think last year I had asked for $5,000, and the city supported that. I mean, the council supported that.
Well, I think 5,000, I'd like to add 5,000 for Chino Neighborhood House.
How much?
5.
Can we, I know a lot of times Isaiah's Rock pays a lot out of their own pocket to get bikes and things like that. Can we help them with purchasing items that are given away?
Currently, Isaiah's Rock, if that's what the council would like to do, we can do that. We don't provide support to them other than facility use at this time.
I would like to propose that we perhaps support them with maybe $1,500 for bikes.
What kind of a total are we at right now? Do you have a?
Probably over.
Five, 16,000,
So we're still okay.
17,500 so far, I think.
Okay, so we're still.
No more than that, and then 4,000 for Civil War, so you're 21,000.
So we're still okay under the 50, right?
I thought we helped the Chino Youth Museum. Don't we help them with any kind of support? Because it has absolutely zero.
Last year, we did support, it came to the council for approval for their 5K run and to cover the costs for police services and public works services.
The bingo, huh?
And that came later,
Yeah,
and that was in
okay.
the amount of $1,300.
$1,300? Dennis, do you want us to help the Youth Museum with anything?
Well, they have their bingo fundraiser twice a year, and probably $1,000 to help assist in their bingo fundraiser. $500 each time they do it. Anything else? Okay, we got Civil War for $4,000, Bass Club and Chino Junior Fairgrounds $2,500 apiece, the Kiwanis for the car show $1,000, the Kiwanis Concert on the Lawn for $5,000, the Neighborhood House for $5,000, the Isaiah's Rock for bicycles $1,500. I think, is that all? I think that's all of it.
And $1,000 for the Chino Youth Museum.
Oh, and $1,000 for the Youth Museum.
Civil War.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we got it, 4,000. Okay, anything else?
These are all such good.
So the total is, I guess, basically $500 left of the 50,000.
So we have discretionary funds left?
$500.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Howie. Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmembers Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
and Mayor Yates.
Yes. Okay, item 15, sanitation rates for fiscal year 2014-15. Our staff report is by our Public Works Assistant City Manager, Mr. Jose Allaire. Mr. Allaire?
Mayor, members of the City Council. In 1998, the City Council adopted its current contract with Waste Management for refuse and recycling services. This contract includes provisions for annual adjustments to the rates per the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. On July 2nd of 2013, the city conducted a public hearing for rate increases for fiscal year 13-14 and 14-15 as required by Proposition 218. At that time, a 5% CPI increase was estimated for fiscal year 14-15. Additionally, a $1 increase was included for the residential rates for both years to address rate decreases that occurred during the difficult economy that we recently had. On March 18th, Waste Management submitted their annual adjustment rate increase of 1.1% for fiscal year 14-15, which is consistent with the CPI and the terms of the contract. However, the current residential single-family rate will increase the CPI and the additional $1 that was approved for this fiscal year. Therefore, the new rate for the residential single-family will increase from $19.76 to $21.06, which is still one of the lowest in San Bernardino County. Our commercial customers will experience the increase of the 1.1% since the additional $1 increase rate did not apply to them. So in conclusion, it is staff's recommendation that the City Council adopt Resolution 2014-041, setting the sanitation rates for fiscal year 14-15, and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents on behalf of the city. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Allaire. Prior to council comment or questions, I'll open this for public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Councilmember Ulloa.
Jose, just to make a point, none of this increase goes into the city coffers at all. It covers actual expenses, true?
Yes, the money we collect from the residents goes to pay our bills that we get from waste management.
It's a separate enterprise fund. Right.
Yes.
I just wanted the public to understand that. This isn't so that the city gets extra money. It actually just is an in and out type.
Pay our bills.
Right, okay, thank you.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Howie, second by Mayor Pro Tem Duncan. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Council members Elrod,
Yes.
Howie,
Yes.
Ulloa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Yates.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Under council reports,
What's that?
Firecrackers.
Oh, Lord.
Fireworks are open today.
Go get him, Chance.
what is that?
The hell?
Fireworks.
Sure, sounds like somebody beating on a drum.
It doesn't sound like fireworks.
I think they're out in front.
There goes $1,000.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
Well, they lost their minds.
wow.
I swear.
Get one of the dumbest deals going here.
Under mayor and council reports, under mayors, I would like to remind everyone that City Hall will be closed this Friday in observance of Independence Day and will open for business Monday, July 7th, 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. And we all hope you'll enjoy and have a safe, healthy, and fun holiday weekend. Also, I'd like to bring everyone's attention to the Autism Resource and Fun Fair happening July 12th from 3 p.m. to 4:30 at the Chino Youth Museum at 13191 6th Avenue, or 6th Street. This great event allows children, parents, and family members touched by autism to be in a safe and fun environment while also gaining further support from community partners who specialize in working with children who have autism. This is a free event. However, space is limited, which means everyone interested needs to register by July 3rd. If you would like more information, please contact the Chino Youth Museum at 909-334-3270 or visit the website at www.chinoyouthmuseum.com. Okay, as of our State of the City address a couple of weeks ago, in case you haven't heard, the City of Chino has gone social with social media. We hope that you will contact us and like us on Facebook, follow us on, I messed this up, it's Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I said tweeter, and I don't know the difference. I got a rile out of everybody on Twitter, and watch us on YouTube. We have also launched a new free mobile app that iPhone users can download from the App Store. The mobile app enables residents and visitors to interact with the City Council, stay up to date on events and news, report concerns, and more. The city's mobile app includes the following features: view City Council videos, view news and current events, share information through social media, view employment opportunities, browse recreation options and classes, sign up for the Chino Notify, report a code violation or graffiti, report a concern, and request an inspection. So check it out. This last Saturday, we had our 4th of July celebration, like I said earlier. It was huge. I mean, there was, how many did you say, 10,000? It was unbelievable, and everything went off without a hitch. It was a great, they had carnival rides and food booths, and the band The Answer was outstanding that we had there, and the fireworks show was stupendous. And we want to thank the girls at Chino Fast Pitch for being our co-sponsor again this year with that celebration of the 4th of July, where we paid special attention to our Chino veterans that are serving and have served in the service. Councilmember Ulloa.
Just a couple of things. And I'm sorry I missed Saturday's event. I was under the weather, so Sparky was disappointed he didn't get to go watch fireworks.
How does that dog do
Crazy
it?
dog. I don't know. I have no idea. I'd also like to request a status report on the southeast corner of Francis and Central. It's a mess again, still, and I get a lot of inquiries from our neighborhood about what in the world is happening with that project.
Didn't they finally take that pole out last
No,
week?
they still haven't.
What were they doing? They were tearing up the curb there.
I don't know what they're doing, but it's still a mess, still has green fence around it.
I heard was that they were working with Verizon, because they did coordinate with Verizon on the undergrounding of the utility there.
They're gonna finally get it done.
They're supposed to, yep,
When are they gonna remove the ugly green fence and weeds?
when the project's complete.
And when is that going to be?
Depends on how long the money lasts. That's what's been holding them up, is they keep running out of money.
I think in the last report, we mentioned by October was the game plan to have the whole project complete.
Well, I hope
What
you're
year?
right.
Oh, yeah, this year.
That's terrible. Well, I'm really looking forward to our new code enforcement partnership, because we have some homes that are just a mess. There's one in particular on Central that's been on Francis, that's been a nightmare for the PD. It's a nightmare for the neighbors. They're scared to death right now with all the illegal fireworks that are already starting to go on with fires, because there's weeds in the back and it's boarded up. It's an eyesore. It's horrible. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys. And speaking of illegal fireworks, they're already starting.
Yep.
I live in the northeast area, and it's like a war zone already. I don't know what they are that they're shooting off, but it sounds like bombs, and it's coming from the county area, mostly. East of Central, it's also coming from the Ontario area, and it's bad already. So I ask our residents, please watch your neighbors, watch your homes. Please report if you know somebody's setting some stuff off. I know the PD has to actually catch them doing it to do anything about it, but at least we can report them, get people out there trying to enforce it, because it's so dangerous. Keep your animals in. A lot of it, I admit I have a dog and horses that are absolutely exceptions. The church that we live next door to have a big fireworks party in their own parking lot, and the stupid horses stand there and watch it. We take the dogs over and they just watch them. You know, that's all the safe and sane stuff, but they watch them. They're very unusual animals, but a lot of animals are really afraid of fireworks, so keep them in. Keep them safe. A lot of them break out of their fenced yards, and then we have an increased population in Humane Society, and sadly enough, a lot of them don't get home. So please take care, don't do anything illegal, and stay safe. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Howie.
Oh, thank you. On June 18th at the fire station over here, we had a new chief sworn in, Tim Shackelford. We attended that. It was, I just love the bagpipes when the bagpipes come out.
Yeah, those are cool.
That just makes that whole event exciting and just great to watch. So congratulations to Tim. I see him sitting back there. Congratulations on your swearing in and you being our new chief. The 19th, we had the State of the City, and I've had a lot of comments. People who said they really enjoyed the State of the City. Usually it used to be, there was like, it was sort of so-so, but a lot of people really enjoyed our State of the City. I think the video went over really well, despite the fact that we didn't have a script this year, and we were all a little nervous. But that came out pretty good. I think Eunice and I both, we were like, we don't like this, and we thought we did terrible, but actually it looked pretty good out there. We looked better than we thought we did, huh?
Oh, it's hard to see yourself get old.
Yeah, well,
oh my goodness sakes.
well,
Michelle did a great job.
But it came out really well.
Yeah, feeling, yeah.
Also on the 21st, I attended the senior barbecue, Gary Ovitt and the county's senior barbecue at our senior center. And that was Gary's last senior barbecue, and I don't know what's going to happen next year with the new supervisor coming in, if they're going to continue that. But if they don't, I hope the council will band together and we can do it, because it's for 200 people. It's a great event. They get to play bingo, they win prizes, they get hamburgers and hot dogs, and it's a super event. So I think if the county doesn't do it, I think we should take that over next year.
We have $500 left.
500 may not pay enough. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, okay. It might take a little more than that, but we do have 500. Thank you for reminding me. And then summer concerts are coming out next week. Don't forget, July the 10th. And then for the next 6 weeks, every Thursday night in front of City Hall, great concerts, really a lot of fun. The city really jumps on that, and we have great crowds come out. And last but not least, for the 4th of July, I know this. I make this plea to our residents, as sort of a futile plea. I know that, because there's going to be illegal fireworks, and it's not worth $1,000. Okay, you're going to get if you get $1,000 fine. You bought those fireworks somewhere out of state probably, or somewhere, and you might have spent $100 or $200, but it's just not worth $1,000 fine. So, just be safe and have a good 4th. So that's and. For the residents, between 8:30 and about 9:45, if you're going to drive around the city, be careful, because fireworks are going off everywhere there. A couple of years I've gone up to Chino Hills and sat there overlooking our area, you could see Chino and Ontario, and I tell you, that's one of the best fireworks shows I've ever seen anywhere. The fireworks are unbelievable. I mean, you just see rockets, bombs, it's just a multitude of explosives going on over our city.
Have you ever gone on a ride-along?
And I have gone on a ride-along, and it's scary out there when you're driving around. Even with a policeman with a gun next to you, it's still kind of scary. I mean, things are just going off right around you all over. It's crazy. Anyway, have a safe 4th. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Yes, on 6/25, I attended a CalTrust committee meeting for putting out an RFP for a new investment manager, or rehire the existing investment manager to manage our funds. That day also, I chaired a vector control meeting, which we are meeting here in the city council chambers until our facility is finished. On the 27th, I attended a ribbon cutting along with the city manager Ballantyne for Lolly Cup International. They have moved their international headquarters here. They employ 200 employees right now. They're a manufacturing and distribution center. They are getting ready to add 100 more employees, and they are going to triple their capacity for manufacturing as soon as they can. They were getting ready to knock walls down any day now. They manufacture paper cups, plastic cups. If you go to Panda or Burger King, 70% of the donut shops in the country, a lot of the pizza restaurants in the country, they make the cups for them. They make paper plates, they make the utensils. Quite an operation. Huge place. They're very, very happy to be in the city of Chino. However, they did have some challenges in getting the facility open. It took Edison 8 months to get them electricity. That's hard to believe, but
No, it didn't.
8 months. And if it wasn't for the city of Chino, I believe we let them go in and start moving stuff into their warehouse. It would have been much worse. So I had my own experience with Edison. I know Eunice and I both have solar on our house. And years ago, we started doing the air conditioning cycling because it was a good thing to do, and Edison was promoting it and encouraging us to do that. Then we put the solar panels on our roof because that was the right thing to do, and Edison was encouraging us to do that. Well, this last year, we added some more solar panels, so now some months Edison owes me money at the end of the month. So I look at my bill on a daily basis. Believe it or not, I can sign on and look at my bill. And I found out I wasn't getting my cycling credit. So I called our area representative, Lydia Roman from Edison. Of course, she got back to me after a couple days. And then after a couple more days, she called me back and said she'd have a specialist call me. Well, that didn't happen. I ended up with the public 800 number that you get to. And they told me that if I do a good enough job of generating energy with my solar panels, that I don't get the summer cycling credit anymore. Even though they're going to cycle my air conditioner, it doesn't matter. They are not going to give me the summer credit. So that's our wonderful Edison utility at work. Just always there to help out the community. So
can you take off the little dealy bob that shuts it down?
I don't see why I would want cycling now. Not that
why
they-
would you if they're,
yeah,
you know?
Not that they're going to give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one last thing, I know a number of us attended the, like a pre-opening last night at Tahoe Joe's. I went out there and did the ribbon cutting today. And having, our Rotary Club met at La Crêperie when it was there. What a transformation, what a difference. The place really, really looks good. It was packed last night. They've done an incredible job inside the facility. The food was great, and I hear from some of their other locations that they do a really, really good job consistently. So I would encourage residents to go out there, and it's nice that we're getting these family-type restaurants in town that are doing really, really well. It encourages other restaurants to come to town, and that's good for our economy and our city revenues. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilman Elrod.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everybody on the 6th, the La Puente Bass Club is going to have their picnic, and that's a good function to go to if you want to take your kids and see some different cultures and the dancing. And with the kids, they have a steak and chicken lunch, and then they have a lamb for chop dinner. So either one, depending on, usually in the late afternoon, the wind picks up and it cools off pretty good down there. So it's something to take your kids at least once, so if you can do that. And I want everybody to have a safe and sane 4th. This town lights up, it seems like, no matter what we do, but you just have to sort of be careful and take care of your neighbors, especially if they have a shake roof, wood. There's still some of those left in town, and it's always nerve-wracking when stuff is going all over the place. So just everybody have a nice 4th, and see you next week.
Thank you. City Manager, Mr. Valentine.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Nick Ligori, who's now our new Community Development Director.
Very good.
That concludes my report.
Congratulations, Nick. I know you've been here a while and you've earned it. I know you've earned it, so you've done a wonderful job. We look forward to great things coming from you. City Attorney, Mr. Gutierrez.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Chief of Police Pruitt, anything to report?
Yes, sir. So at the risk of being redundant, I wanted to again talk about the city's 1,000 Times No campaign. And as council members have pointed out, illegal fireworks in the city of Chino is illegal, and it'll cost you $1,000. Don't do it. It's like writing tickets at the Indianapolis 500. We don't have the resources. Our phones light up this time of the year, and we just don't have enough officers to get out to every single call, especially on the 4th of July. Last year, we wrote 81 citations. So there were 81 people that got these types of citations. And when I go out there and ride on the 4th of July, as Councilman Howie has pointed out, it really is sort of intimidating. It's scary, the things that people do out there. And so the worst part, it's bad enough getting a $1,000 ticket, and you feel bad. You got these middle-aged guys out there standing there as the officer's giving them a $1,000 ticket. That's bad enough. To add injury to insult, the wife is standing next to him saying, "I told you so."
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
to all of you out there, don't put yourself in that situation. So from today to July 4th, it's lawful
to use safe and sane fireworks, the kind that you can buy at the fireworks stands here in Chino.
But they can't discharge them until the 4th.
They can, right, they can purchase them.
Yeah, but
I'm
what
sorry.
we just said is it was okay to discharge them, but that's.
My mistake.
They can't, can they?
You can
No,
begin purchasing them.
only on the 4th.
Oh,
Yeah, they can.
yes, it is.
Before the 4th?
From the first
Yes.
to the fourth.
I thought it was just I know they could sell them, but I didn't think you could discharge them.
Yes, you can discharge them beginning at noon today.
Oh, really?
Until the 4th.
I just thought
of-
you could purchase them.
Yes, until excuse me?
There's a time deadline on the 4th. Isn't it like 9:30 on the 4th or something like that?
On the 4th of July, you can discharge them until midnight.
Oh,
You
until
can
midnight.
purchase them until 9 o'clock.
I'll bet you they're shooting them off Saturday too.
Oh, they'll be shooting them off for.
Weekend.
Until August.
Weekend. Or August.
Yeah. So we do have increased patrols this time of the year. We have undercover officers out there tonight and the rest of the week. So we're giving you that warning to the public because we don't, our intent isn't to catch you doing things that are illegal. Our intent is to discourage you from doing things that are illegal. There's a map up on the screen that shows the areas where legal, safe, and sane fireworks can be used, and it's generally the area in the north end of town. The area that's in the gold is the College Park area and the preserve, and there are no fireworks allowed in that area. So even the safe and sane fireworks are unlawful in those areas, and that would result in a $500 fine. So even if you purchased safe and sane fireworks and you discharge them in those areas, you would get a $500 fine. The fire department partnerships with us on the 4th of July. Every man is on deck, every woman is on deck, and we're out there in full force. And so it's also unlawful to shoot off fireworks in public parks, in parking lots, and on public property. Any questions from members of the council?
No, thank you, Chief.
Okay,
Appreciate
thanks,
it. Councilmember Yolo's
Not
got
a
a.
question, but I'm glad you made that point, because you can be at a private residence, but we used to allow people to be in parking lots and parks and talk about war zones, especially the park near where Dennis lives, Liberty Park. It was
Yeah.
terrible. Oh, my God, it was horrible. So at least that has stopped, but you do need to be at a private residence. You can't be in the public right-of-way or anything like that. No, I'm not renting out our front yard. We have artificial turf. It'll melt.
Won't catch on fire?
No, but it'll melt. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, thank you.
I remember when we first passed that ordinance where you couldn't use the discharge in the parks, and one of our officers was telling me he saw somebody parked on Central, and he pulled in behind him and said, "Do you have a problem?" And they said, "Well, they were from Ontario." And they said, "Well, can we let off fireworks in the park and stuff?" He goes, "No, you can't. It has to be in your own residence." And they said, "Well, we live in Ontario." And our officer said, "Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you." And the officer just happened to say, "Do you have any illegal fireworks?" And the wife said, "Yeah, it's in the trunk." The officer said, "Get out, open your trunk." The wife squealed on him. "Yeah, we got some in the trunk." I'll never forget that. Huh? Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's
I've
funny.
been on ride-alongs before. Remember Mike Johnson? When he was with our PD, and we rolled into a parking lot, and he went right in front of somebody that was setting off illegal firecrackers. And the guy just looked at him and kept lighting them off. And Mike was so calm, he got, "Do you understand these are illegal?" "Yeah."
Well, the best, when we bought the ATVs, well, now Captain Jones was riding the ATV around a yellow park when you could do it in the park. And they weren't expecting an officer to be on an ATV. We just bought them. And Captain Jones said, "I come ride it up," and this guy's setting off a bottle rocket. He looks at me and goes, lights the rocket, the thing shoots up. Then he goes, "Oh, geez." Matt rolled right up to him. He said, they weren't thinking that a cop would be on an ATV. Oh, well, too funny.
Hey, Chief, I got a quick question. If you catch somebody who hasn't lit any fireworks, you just confiscate those and don't write them a ticket? You have to actually visually see them shoot something off, or how does that work?
Yeah, if you're just in possession of illegal fireworks.
You just confiscate it?
$1,000 fine. Yeah, we can,
Oh, you
we'll
write the
certainly
fine, too.
confiscate
All
it,
right,
and we'll give
great.
you a ticket for $1,000.
Great, okay, perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Just for possessing.
Just for
those,
possessing.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if we get a little report from our brand-new fire chief, Chief Shackelford, You'll be busy this 4th of July, too.
Not tonight. So I just, a couple items, briefly just to tag on to the fireworks. We want to urge the residents to celebrate responsibly. In addition to the potential for a fine, there's also some safety considerations, especially with illegal fireworks, with injuries and potential for liability if you do cause a fire as well. So please celebrate responsibly. And secondly, tonight, I'd just like to thank the council and staff that attended the swearing-in ceremony and the promotional ceremony that we hosted a couple weeks ago. So thank you, and have a safe 4th.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Okay, we will stand adjourned to the next regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, July 15th, 2014, 7 p.m. Closed session at 6 p.m. if necessary. We stand adjourned.